Deanna, by my count, we have 6 people joined with us.
Okay. I have 1:59, so at 2 o'clock, I'll go ahead and get started.
Okay.
Thank you for the information.
You're welcome.
Okay, I have 2 p.m. All right, well, welcome to the 2018 Tennessee State Council meeting for the Military Interstate Children's Compact Commission. Before we get started on the agenda items, I'm going to turn over the mic to Nathan James at State Board of Education for a housekeeping item. Nathan?
Would you prefer me to take the roll to establish quorum first and then make a motion?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So to establish a quorum, please answer if you're present. Tammy Mason?
Present.
Dr. LaDonna McFall? Millard House? Colonel Joseph Kuchin? Captain Michael Wathen, Commissioner Minnie Bears Grinder, Senator Gresham, I'm on, Bernard Childress, and Madam Chair, of course you're on. I'm not able to hear. I only heard one response there. Is it just the 4 of us?
No, I believe that there's some school liaison officers on from Fort Campbell. Let me just check. Manuela, are you on?
Yes, ma'am.
Is Terry with you?
She's not here today.
Okay. Jennifer Lundy, are you on the call? Okay. That's not good. Is anyone from the national office on? Sharice or Richard? Okay. Well then, what we'll do is we'll just continue to record. If more people join, then we'll verify to establish a quorum to vote on the one item for the actual recording of the minutes. Otherwise, we don't have anything else that requires a vote, Nathan.
Okay, great.
So that's the only thing.
Okay, sounds good then. I'm going to continue to listen on the computer side now.
I knew that that Commissioner Grinder was not going to be on the call. She did notify me that she was not available. And Millard House had ran into him on Thursday. He said he was going to call in from the airport. Maybe his flight boarded early. But those are the only 2 that I heard from that they would not be on the call or maybe late. So, all right, well, we'll go ahead and roll on then. Elizabeth, would you please advance to the agenda? So these are the items that we're going to cover on today's meeting. Next slide, please. We'll come back to the attendance. Next slide, please. Manuela, do you have anything to share on behalf of the SLOs at Fort Campbell?
Not at this moment, no.
Okay, no news is good news?
No news is good news, that's right.
Okay, thank you. Next slide. Just a reminder of what the purpose of the State Council is that we are established to fulfill the objectives of the compact through a means of joint cooperative action among the compacting states to promote, develop, and facilitate a uniform standard that eases the state-to-state transition of military personnel, their spouses, and primarily their children, as these children transfer from one state to another and from one school system to another as a direct result of the military parents' frequent reassignments. Next slide, please. All right, Elizabeth, back to the, yeah, all right, here we go. Elizabeth's gonna work her IT magic in Nashville for us. Hey, Nathan, for the record, Millard House messaged and said that he is on the call, but he is having audio problems.
Deanna?
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. This is Jennifer Lundy. I just had to rejoin the call because it wasn't letting me speak. I tried to answer you when you asked if I was here, but
Okay.
It wasn't letting me talk. And Captain Watson has a scheduling conflict, but he's going to join us a little bit later, hopefully.
Okay. Thank you, Jennifer. Do you have
Sorry.
Do you have anything to report from Millington?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Awesome. This is Millard.
Now I see it. Now we can see it. All right.
The moves for military families are all too common. This can be challenging for any family member, but it's especially true for children who frequently have to switch to one new school after another.
I've moved about 9 times.
3 times.
5 times. North Carolina, South Carolina, Arkansas. I was born in Colorado. We moved to Montana.
It becomes even more challenging when a child has to move during senior year when they would rather stay and graduate with their friends. However, there are programs available for kids who face these circumstances. Military children can take classes online no matter where they are stationed.
The Interstate Compact on Educational Opportunities was formed by the Board of Governors, and I refer to it as the Bill of Rights for our students. There are currently 46 states enrolled in the program, and the school districts are allowed to make allowances for our students. For example, they wouldn't have to retake state history here in Maryland if they arrived here, or if John was on the football team and he arrives in September and they've practiced all through August, he could still try out for the football team. It's not too late. They're supposed to give our children that opportunity to do those things.
School liaison officers around the country are available to provide help for military children who face similar situations.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Okay, this is the updated statistics from National on the children that we are serving through the compact. 1.1 million school-age children ages 5 to 18. 630,000 of those children have parents on active duty, and 75% of the active duty children are under the age of 12. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is the time of the year where I go through our cases from the previous year that have occurred since last year's meeting, and there are really only 2 trends. And the big one every year, of course, is graduation. It's the tool I feel like we're able to use to assist more cases in Tennessee than anywhere else. And Tammy Mason is on from Arlington, had a case that involved graduation last year. Next slide, please. So what is covered under the graduation rule is waiving courses required for graduation if similar courses were completed prior to arriving at their receiving school, accepting sending state exit or end of course exams, national achievement tests, or alternative testing in lieu of testing requirements for graduation, allowing receipt of a sending school diploma as an alternative to accommodate for exit exams and graduation requirements that the student doesn't have time to meet. Should a waiver not be granted to a student who would qualify to graduate from the sending school, the LEA shall provide an alternative means for acquiring coursework so graduation may occur on time. Next slide, please. What's not covered under the graduation rule are mandatory waivers, although LEA must show good cause for a denial of a waiver, mandatory waiver of the exam or acceptance of alternative results, and the right of parents to request a change of graduation requirements in the receiving LEA. Those are not covered under the rule. Next slide. So this is a case that happened in Tennessee. A family moved between states to a new duty station in the middle of the child's senior year of high school. The receiving high school stated that the child would not meet the graduation requirements of their school system. The parents said their son was on course to graduate from the sending school. Does the compact apply, and what steps would you take to resolve the case? Next slide. The receiving high school is willing to allow the son to graduate from the sending state's high school, but wanted to make sure it was consistent with the compact. The sending high school and the receiving high school determined required the coursework that needed to be completed. The child walked to the receiving high school's graduation ceremony and received a diploma from the sending high school. Next slide, please. Chapter 400 of the compact rules, graduation. It's Article 7, transfers during senior year. There may be cases in which a military student transferring at the beginning or during his or her senior year is ineligible to graduate from the receiving LEA after all alternatives have been considered. In such cases, the sending and receiving LEAs shall ensure the receipt of a diploma from the sending LEA if the student meets the graduation requirements of the sending LEA. In the event that one of the states in question is not a member of the compact, the member state shall use best efforts to facilitate on-time graduation of the student in accordance with sections A and B of this article. And just to clear something up, all 50 states in Washington, D.C. are now members of the compact. So you can eliminate that part. Well, any questions on graduation? Okay, next slide, please. Course placement. This has been a hot topic in the last 12 months. We're going to look at Article 5, Section 5-101, course placement from a receiving state to a sending state. Next slide, please. A family moved between states to a new duty station. The child completed high school level courses at her sending middle school. The receiving high school would not accept this sending school's high school course level as high school level courses. Does a compact apply, and what steps would you take to resolve? Next slide, please. So Chapter 500, placement and attendance, Section 5101, course placement. The receiving school shall initially place a student who transfers before or during the school year in educational courses based on the student's enrollment in the sending state school and or educational assessments conducted at the school in the sending state to the extent that the educational courses are provided by the receiving school. Course placement includes, but is not limited to, honors, international baccalaureate, advanced placement, vocational, technical, and career pathway courses. The receiving school may perform evaluations to ensure appropriate placement and continued enrollment of the student in the courses. The receiving school may allow the student to attend similar educational courses in other schools within the LEA if the receiving school does not offer such educational courses. So this was a tricky one in 3 cases that we had in Tennessee. And so I referred to a case study that the compact attorney had done. It was a legal advisory opinion for how to resolve the first of these issues. Next slide, please. So this is from Rick Masters. This is his legal opinion that he filed last fall at the request of the state of Kansas to a very similar situation that we have had in Tennessee, where a student will transfer into the state of Tennessee, may have completed high school level algebra in 8th grade, but the receiving school would not accept that as a high school credit. So the description is whether the provisions of the Interstate Compact on educational opportunity for military children, allowing a receiving state public school to withdraw credit and corresponding grades previously awarded for courses completed in the sending state public school where the sending state declines to do so. Next slide, please. So, pursuant to Article 10, Section C of the Interstate Compact, the state of Kansas had submitted a request for an advisory opinion concerning clarification of the issue pertaining to the compact. Next slide, please. The commissioner from Kansas has requested guidance from the compact concerning whether the compact allows a receiving state public school to withdraw credit and corresponding grades previously awarded for courses completed in the sending state public school where the sending state declines to do so. Next slide, please. So this is the rule that I have read at the beginning of this case. Next slide, please. Review and analysis. This case arose concerning the daughter of a military family who transferred with her parents from a DoDEA school located in Germany to a public high school in Leavenworth, Kansas. The student's parents brought this issue to the attention of MIC3 National Office, which forwarded it to the Kansas State Commissioner's designee for investigation and resolution. The commissioner found that the student took German 1 and 2 in 7th and 8th grades, earning a B. The school recorded these courses and grades on the student's high school transcript as it is their policy. Prior to 9th grade, the family moved to a new state and the sending school sent the transcript to the receiving school. Next slide, please. Apparently, the parents were not aware the middle school courses were on the transcript until the receiving school announced academic awards near the end of the student's freshman year. The parents requested removal of the middle school courses from the transcript. The receiving school, per their policy, refused to remove the courses. The receiving school indicated they would honor the decision if the sending school chose to remove the courses from the high school transcript. The sending school declined to do so. The Kansas Commissioner's Office agreed with the receiving school's determination was consistent with the provisions of the compact and the board policy. The parents felt that the decision should have been adjusted for future such situations, and Kansas seeks an advisory opinion concerning the issue. Sorry, it's allergy season. I had to get a drink of water. The intent of Article 5A 1 can be determined from the plain meaning of the language used that the receiving school district is required to honor the placement of students in educational courses based on the student's enrollment in the sending state. Moreover, this section of the compact clarifies that continuing the student's progress from the previous school as well as promoting placement in academically and careerly challenged courses are paramount when making placement decisions. Next slide, please. A U.S. Supreme Court has held with regard to statutory interpretation, implying settled principles of statutory construction, we must first determine whether the statutory text is plain and unambiguous, and if it is, we must apply the statute according to its terms. Next slide, please. So in conclusion, in summary, since the relevant provision of the compact require a receiving public school must honor the placement of a student based on the student's enrollment in the sending public school, and that continuing the student's progress from the previous school is a paramount consideration when making placement decisions. A receiving state school is not allowed to withdraw credit and corresponding grades previously awarded for courses completed in the sending state public school where the sending state declines to do so. Next slide, please. In the middle school, junior high, and high school, full faith and credit shall be given to units earned in other accredited schools at the time the student enrolls in the district, unless the principal determines there is a valid reason for not doing so. For online credit approval procedures after enrollment, see board policy. Next slide, please. So based on the email from the state commissioner with the compact rule, the receiving school honored the courses. So what has happened in the 3 cases that I've mentioned is that students have transferred into school in the state of Tennessee, and they have successfully completed high school level course in middle school or junior high, and those were not being accepted upon enrollment by the receiving high school. And so this is the rule that that covers that. Receiving school can't change a child's transcript. If at the sending school it was considered and counted as a high school level course, then it must carry over and be accepted as a high school level course in the receiving school. Any questions on that one? Okay, any comments on that? I know we had a similar case between Kentucky and Tennessee recently.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Since that one, Manuela, there have been 2 more.
Oh.
But they've been with other states. So. Okay.
My question would be, now if these courses are not recorded on a high school transcript, are they valid?
If they're on a middle school transcript and it's noted that it was a high school level algebra course, then it must be accepted as a high school algebra course at that receiving high school.
Okay. So if it's indicated on, got it.
And if that comes up again, I can now direct anybody to that attorney opinion. It's posted on the MIC3 website.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, anything else on that one? Okay, next slide, please. So every year I like to share with you the stats for military children in our state. And you'll see it's no surprise that Clarksville, Montgomery County Schools, Millard House has the majority of the military children in the state of Tennessee, with 23.6% of his students being connected to Fort Campbell. Then the second highest is the Lakeland school system outside Memphis with 9%, and Millington and Arlington and several other little school systems outside of Millington share the remainder. Next, please. So this is where the impact aid went. This last cycle in Tennessee went to Clarksville, Montgomery County school systems. Next slide, please. And then this is a breakout that I requested from DODEA on the number of children in our state by branch of service, which I always think is interesting. And it looks like our numbers went down from last year. I'll have to find out why, but looks like we went down about 180 students. And I know that wasn't in Clarksville because Millard House's enrollment went up by more than 1,600 when school started. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, I need your help. In February, Carolyn Davis, who has filled the role of our military family education liaison, resigned her position because she obtained a teaching job at the college level. And according to our state statute, we have to have somebody fill this role. And the person that fills this role cannot be a Department of Defense employee or a military service member. So Elizabeth posted this on the State Board of Education's website, but if any of you know anybody in your school system or in your community that might be willing to fill this role as a volunteer, basically it's the person that partners with me to resolve cases that are brought to our attention. It doesn't take a lot of time. It's just somebody that can back me up if for some reason somebody can't get a hold of me. Which people know how to get a hold of me. So if any of you have an idea of somebody in your school system or in your community that's really has a passion for military children, and Mr. House, I have somebody in mind that I'll talk to you about when you're done traveling that I think would be great in your school system. But if anybody knows of anyone, if you would just please let me know or pass this information on to that person to see if they're interested It's a totally volunteer position, just like my position. There's no compensation involved. So it really needs to be somebody that has a passion for military families. Any comments on that? Okay. Elizabeth, did anybody else join? I'll just check real quick. Bernard Childress, did you join us? Bernard? Senator Gresham? Jennifer, did Captain Wathan join you? Dr. McFall?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yay! Thank you.
I've been here. I just wasn't, my audio was not working.
I had the same problem. Colonel Kuchin, did you join us? Okay. All right. So we still don't have a quorum, but like I said before, we don't have any voting business. Next slide, please, would be slide 32.
Deanna, I'm sorry, I'm here with Captain Watson. We didn't get off mute fast enough.
Okay, welcome, sir.
Well, thanks. We took you off speaker instead of mute by mistake, but we're here.
My husband doesn't like to hear my voice either, so.
Oh.
So does
I
that
did not
bring us
say
up
that.
to 5 or 6 members present?
Yeah, that's 6.
All right. In that case, you have a quorum, and I would move that this recording satisfy the requirement to that this recording serve as the minutes of the meeting.
Is there a second on the motion?
I'll second it.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so since last year, the national office has made some upgrades on their website involving a committee that I serve on, which is the Training and Communications Committee. And so it's broke out into sections that should be easier for people to find. If I'm a parent of a military child, I automatically would click the drop down by parents, and then there's schools, resources, etc. Next slide, please. So under parents, find your school liaison officer, ask for help, parent guide, PCS checklist, contact your commissioner, publication, and compact rules are what's available for parents. Next slide. Schools, what is a SLO? There should not be anybody in the universe that doesn't know what a SLO is. I can't tell you all how many times I've relied on the ladies at Fort Campbell and Jennifer for help. Frequently asked questions, best practice, publications, and compact rules. Next slide. Available resources are state statutes, which is our state law, on the compact rules, state profiles, information sheet, DODEA map, publications, useful links, state samples and templates, annual meeting minutes, and compact comparisons. Next slide. So under publications, this gets updated about every month or so, is some information that you can print off and have with your registrars at school that you can print off and have at Fort Campbell Welcome Day, or anytime, Jennifer, you go out in the community and speak about your position, you can print these off and provide them to people as a resource about the compact. And then this is also where I pulled the information about Month of the Military Child and emailed it out. Next slide, please. All right, so any questions or concerns that you all would like to discuss while we're all here together, and virtually here together? No? Okay. One thing I'll just put out there is that some of you may not know it's an election year in the state of Tennessee, and we will have a new governor in January. So depending on if they want to keep me or not, I may or may not be here next year, but they're not paying me, so I should be able to justify that. Don't you think, Nathan?
I think you're probably in good shape.
Okay, awesome. Okay. Any open discussion? Okay, next slide, please. Here's the important links that have been updated from last year with the changes to the website. If you ever need to reference anything that we discuss on our meetings, Elizabeth posts everything on the State Board of Education website, which is the second link. Next slide, please. Month of the Military Child. We're more than halfway through. And for Month of the Military Child, I did a presentation about the compact and the Month of the Military Child at the Montgomery County, Tennessee County Commission meeting on April 2nd. I gave the same presentation at the Clarksville City Council meeting on April 5th. At the Montgomery County Commission meeting, Mayor Durrett did a proclamation. This Saturday, the 21st, there's going to be a presentation of an imagination playground at Downtown Commons, which is a new park in the center of downtown Clarksville that the Montgomery County government owns. And it's going to be an event for military children in recognition of Month of the Military Child. And then on Wednesday, April 25th, R.J. Corman Railroad Bridge, which crosses the Cumberland River in Clarksville, will be lit purple for Month of the Military Child. So exciting. Does anybody want to share anything that they've done or experienced in their area for Month of the Military Child?
Dan, I'll share something that this is Tammy with Arlington.
Hey, Tammy.
Our middle school has a club that supports middle school kids, our military kids in middle school. And one of the things that they did is that they crocheted and made blankets to give to all of the military kids. Especially we had a couple that their parents had recently been redeployed. And so that was a nice story. We got that out and the local paper covered it. But we're continuing to try to get the kids involved of non-military families with those. And so we've been doing that through clubs, and that's just one of the things that we've done along with the things that we normally do, the military kids breakfast and those kinds of things.
That's awesome. Would you mind emailing me the link to that story so I can get it to national?
Sure, I'd be happy to.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Okay, next slide. Governor Haslam's proclamation for Month of the Military Child. His last one as governor. Teardrop. Okay, anything else before we close? Okay, you all know how to get a hold of me in case something pops up. You don't have to wait until our annual meeting. And if you can think of anybody else that you think would benefit from being part of our state council, please let me know. Captain Wathan, are you on orders next year?
He stepped out already. He's actually on orders next year. He will not be here for the next meeting.
Okay, is he a fall change or?
He got 4 months cut off of his orders, so he has less than a year left.
Oh, God. Okay, I'll email him.
Okay.
Golly. So he gets early release?
Yes.
Okay. All right, does anyone else have anything? Okay, well, thank you all so much, and thank you, Elizabeth, for running the show from Nashville. We usually have better attendance when we're on a webinar. I don't know what happened to the others, but thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate it. And thank you, Nathan.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we're going to conclude the meeting at 2:33 p.m.